Hey there and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be creating a heart-shaped bag. This bag was just inspired by romance and passion, just the whole idea of you set my heart on fire kind of thing. There are two styles for this bag. There's an option to use the flame. Also note you don't have to use leather for this bag, like you can make it out of a different material, a cotton or something. That's totally your choice, but yeah, so let's sew. So first, start by tracing two of your heart piece patterns. Then you'll trace your 4 zip pieces, your 1 underbag piece, and your 2 straps. If you opt to make the heart flame bag, then trace out 2 of the flame pieces, ideally using a different color. Once your flame pieces are cut out, start clipping them to your heart pieces. You will clip the bottom of the flame to the bottom of the heart. Make sure they align perfectly. While stitching the flame pieces, do take your time. There's a lot of curves and shapes, and this part is particularly time consuming. Also, leather material is very unforgiving when it comes to mistakes. So I just wanted to demonstrate to show you the correct way to handle the material while stitching down the flame piece. So now we're going to work on the straps. So on your pattern piece, notches are already marked to show you where to make notches onto your fabric. So you'll fold the strap piece in half and just start clipping into place. Once you clip, the material naturally creases, and then you will stitch, let's say foot stitch all the way down. Then fold in your 1 centimeter seam allowances and clip them together. I'm just measuring the strap to make sure that it's 3 centimeters consistently throughout. So once you've clipped your seam allowance, you'll do the same as you did on the other side of your strap and create an edge stitch all the way down. Any scraps that you have from the pieces that you previously cut can be used to cut out the D-ring holders. While stitching your D-rings on, try to get as close to the D-ring as you possibly can. Not too close though, as this can cause your needle to break. Also avoid back stitching. Now it's time to cut out your lining pieces. I'm just being a bit cheeky and using my previous cut leather pieces to trace around and cut out my lining. This just makes it a bit easier as it's a more heavyweight material than using the paper pattern. Now you will clip your lining pieces to your leather pieces, or whichever outer fabric you decide to use for this project. Now you'll stitch your lining to your outer fabric pieces. This will be the underbag piece and your heart-shaped pieces. Now it's time to work on your zip pieces. So you will take the right side of your zip and you'll just fold over the extra and just clip it by the edge of your zip piece. You will clip onto the right side of the material as you are sandwiching in the zip leather pieces together. For this pattern, it's best to use a 14-inch zip. So here I'm just stitching using an edge stitch to sew down the zip, and you want to just make sure the zip is aligned to the edge of your zip piece. Once you stitched your zip down, you will now take your other zip pieces right side down and you will clip the pieces together, ready for sewing. Once you're done stitching, you will now fold over your zip piece. Then you will clip all the way around the edges. Once clipped and secured in place, you will then take to your sewing machine and sew, and you'll do an edge stitch all the way around. So now you're going to form the shape of your bag. So this is going to be the side bag. What do you call it? I don't even know what to call it. But basically you're going to take your underbag piece and you're also going to take your zip pieces. Make sure you close your zip first and then you're going to clip it to your outer bag piece. So you're going to clip it because you'll be stitching these together, as these are the pieces that will form the piece that will go all the way around your heart shape given the bag's dimension. So once it's clipped in place, and then you take it to the sewing machine to be sewn. So here you will use a binding. The bigger the binding will be better. I'm using a 2 centimeter, I think it's like a 2 centimeter binding. But if you can have like it's 1 inch binding, sorry guys, 1 inch binding. But if you can get a wider binding, it will actually make it so much easier, if you're doing this with leather material, it's quite a thick material. But if you're doing it with a normal fabric, 1 inch is perfectly fine. But with leather, if you can get a bigger binding, it would actually make your life easier. So you're just going to stitch that just to like cover up that side seam and not leave the side seams exposed on the inside of the bag. So once you've stitched down your binding, you will then do the same on the other side. So once you've stitched down, covered your seam, you will then flip it onto the right side and do a top stitch on the right side. Now you'll be stitching your heart-shaped pieces to the outer bag piece. So now you can just clip, you can follow the notches on the pattern if it will be easier, just to make sure that the pieces match and are aligned, and then you just clip all the way around. So this is like the trickiest part, especially when you're working with the leather material, as it's a thick material. So during this section, just take your time and you'll be sewing a 1 centimeter seam allowance all the way around the bag. You can also opt to stitch your binding at the same time, but I prefer to stitch it down in place first and then add my binding after. If you are a beginner sewer, this part can be pretty tricky and fussy. So I just wanted to keep this part in the tutorial just to show you how I manage the material whilst I'm sewing. As leather is quite a thick material and it's not as stretchy as others, you have to handle it differently. Whereas if you're working with maybe a stretch material or like a denim or something, it's definitely easier. Even like a cotton material, it's definitely easier to work around. So now we're just adding the binding to cover up the seam on the inside of the bag. So now you repeat this with the other heart piece, giving you the full shape of your bag. Now that your bag is all stitched together, so now you can see that the shape of the bag has formed. So now you're going to, the final step now is just to add in your straps. So I tend to just cut, I wanted to just like cut whatever scraps you have, you can just use that, cut a piece to match your straps. And you can use that to just cover up the edge of the strap, just to neaten up your bag. So now you'll finally be attaching your straps to your bag. So you just place the straps through your D-rings and then you just fold them over. You'll be stitching where you've added an extra piece of leather to cover up your strap, to finish off your strap, sorry. Now, be warned, there are a lot of layers at this point, so you're going to take your time while stitching here, especially when you're going to backstitch, and you will need to backstitch your straps in order to give your bag straps extra security. You will need to backstitch, but please take your time, as needles can be prone to breaking at this point as there are a lot of layers. And that's it, guys. You have a nice cute bag to add to your accessories collection. If you like this video, like, comment and subscribe and share, and I would love to see you guys' bags. Don't be afraid to share them with me on my socials. Until next time, guys, bye.